Hello racing fans, and a warm welcome to Trackside, proudly brought to you by World Sports Betting. Bet with the best, bet with WSB. Well, it is a massive weekend for World Sports Betting. It's the World Sports Betting Cape Town MET, a festival of first-class racing, and that's what it is. It is the main event, which is the World Sports Betting MET, and there are supporting features which are just high-class racing action, and couple that with the world pools on the day, competitive racing. Well, we're in for a feast this Saturday, and hopefully it does turn out to be a profitable day as well. It is a very busy show. I trust that you are well. Everything's going according to plan for the week, and you're looking forward to Saturday's race meeting at Kenilworth. Well, we're only going to be concentrating on that race meeting. It is the main liner, one of the premier race days of the South African racing calendar, and it's going to be a busy show. So we got 4 to follow, we've got a Pick 6 guide, and we've got a quartet in the main race. And if you can recall, if you did watch this show for the Hollywood Bets Durban July, we did tip the winner, Sparkling Water, and we did tip the winning Quartet in that race, which paid in excess of 20,000 Rand. So we're hoping to do the same this year, and I will tell you, I've got a horse that I like at a big price, and I was umming and eyeing, as I was with Sparkling Water, before I made the change at the card call when seated next to Mike de Kock. I made the change, and I was umming and eyeing coming into the show until I stumbled upon a comment from the trainer of the horse that I like, but a bit more about that a bit later on in the show. For now, let's away we go with our 4 to follow, and it'll begin in race number 3. And here I already like the look of Justin Snaith's runner called Bonica with Richard Fourie up. And you can clearly see that she is a talented horse. She's the only 4-time winner in the field, taking on 1, 2, and 3-time winners. She's won over 1,000 meters. She's won twice over 1,200, and she's won over 1,500 meters. Her penultimate start, they tried her against the best of the generation. They tested her. They wanted to see how good she was in that Guineas, and she was drawn 1 out of 14 that day. She was drawn pole position. But as we know, if you followed her career throughout, she's not the quickest out the gate. She enjoys a patient ride, and that day from draw 1 was a big negative for her, because the entire field looped her so quickly that she found herself right at the back of the field. She had a mountain to climb when they turned into the straight, and yeah, it says she finished 8, 4.5 lengths behind Make It Snappy, but the fact is she was the second fastest finisher that day, so it wasn't a bad run at all. And then last time out, I'm going to draw that run completely. It was an international race for, I think it was a ladies' international race, that was it was called, so that run can be ignored completely. So we're judging her on her best form, and what also interests me is that she is nicely treated yet. That's the stance I'm going to take, because she's got a rating of 98. Now, this time of the year, the 3-year-olds receive the weight for age allowance of 4.5 kgs, which brings her down from a 98 to a net 89, and she's carrying 54.5 on her back here. So I think she's nicely treated, and the field is a small one, so there's only, 8 runners that go to post at the time of recording. And I think even if she's given her a customary patient ride, and she sits towards the back of the field, she's not going to have many horses to pass by. There's just going to be 7 runners in front of her. I don't see any natural pacemaker in the race, any natural front runner in the race, but whatever fractions are being set up front, I suspect they're not going to match her for speed when they turn into the straight. The final 400 meters, I think she will be the fastest finisher, number 3, Bonica. And she's generously priced up as well. I think around 3 to 1 at the time of recording, number 3, Bonica. So she is going to be a start of what I think is going to be a flying start for us here on this massive race day. Race 3, horse number 3, Bonica. Then we move along to race number 4, and this is the all-important start of the Pick 6. we'll touch on those carryovers, etc. when I do the pick six, but it's the Mallorca Stakes, Group 1 over 1600 meters, and I see it's called the Schweppes Mallorca Stakes, and we're going with the obvious horse here. We're going with the multiple Group 1 winning filly, we're going with the star, we're going with the champion, we're going with the Equus champion, who's given us all these wonderful memories throughout her career. She is vying to make it 3 years on the bounce in this race. She won it in 2021 as a 3-year-old. She won it in 2022 as a 4-year-old. And can she make it 3 in a row as a 5-year-old? Well, I certainly think she can. She's 3 from 3 over the course and distance. This is a favorite hunting ground. She is deadly over 1600 meters. She's rightfully priced up in the red, and whatever beats her wins. She's very short. I think she's around 5, 4 to 10, 5 to 10, 4 to 10, but I think she will be very, very hard to beat over 1600 meters, and she will make it 3 in a row in one of the premier 1600 meter races for fillies in the country. Race number 4, horse number 3, Captain's Ransom. Then we move along to race number 8. Now, I found a horse here that I really like, and this horse is from the Canamea de Mello combination. It's the 8th race. It's the Pongras Cape Flying Championship over 1000 meters of Group 1, and the runner is number 2, Gimme a Prince. Well, he's a talented horse. That's clear to see. He's already a 4-time winner from just 6 starts, and his wins have been twice over 1200 meters, twice over 1400 meters. His last win was a Group 2, that was the Cape Merchants, where he did it effortlessly in a massive field of 20 runners. Just the way he skated away from the opposition was impressive with number 2, Gimme a Prince. And he's also run second, that was in the Southeaster, which is over 1100 meters. There will be a concern for most that the 1000 meters could be on the sharp side for him, but he's obviously running against the best of the best when it comes to the sprinting ranks, and the speed is going to be on from the word go. The faster the go, the faster the field goes, the quicker he's going to be finishing. And I suspect that they will go quick here. And over this 1000 meter trip, Keegan rates this horse highly. I've chatted to him about this individual off air. He likes the horse a lot, and he thinks that this horse could achieve higher than a rating of 114. At this stage of the game, he was pushed up from his last start to a 114 going into this race, and he doesn't feature at all in the best weighted column. And I agree. I think he is very capable on what he's shown to date to achieve much higher than this 114 weighs at this stage of his career. This 4-year-old number 2, Gimme a Prince. So I like him a lot. I think 7 to 1 is still a big price about him. And let's see if he can lock arms and compete with the best of the best when it comes to the sprinting ranks. Race 8. Horse number 2, Gimme a Prince. And then the last of our 4 to follow comes up in race number 11. Now, in the 11th race, which looks to be a very competitive race when you try and study the form of all these runners in black and white, but I like a horse here, and I've known him since he started off his career in KZN. His name is Kitchakal, trained by Duncan Howes. I can still remember him winning his second start at Scottsville, where he won it quite well. And since that run and win over 1200 meters, the stable have elected to try him over a bit further. He's had 2 runs over 1400 meters, which were good runs, and both of them he's run second. I was actually at Kenilworth when he debuted in Cape Town. I was on course that day, and he moved up like he was going to win that, and he was just run out of it very late by Winchester Mansion. So his next 2 runs, they decided, well, let's try him over a mile. And he hasn't run badly over a mile. He's finished there or thereabouts, and they've been fair runs. But having watched him over 14 and 1600 meters, he's now a very speedy individual. He just jumps out in a flash. He's into the race. He shows natural, pace. I think this could be the master stroke, the smart move. Let's try him over 1200 meters now that he's so fluent with his action over further. Maybe you could just run all the way to the line over 1200 meters. And I think this is the key here with number 9, Kitchakal. If the stable think it's the smart move, I really think it's the right move. And the weight, well, he's carrying 61.5 kgs, and I had a good look at the opposition that he takes on. You know, if you look at number 1, that's carrying 53.5, and then you look at number 7, which is Bullet, that's carrying 55.5, and number 13, that's carrying 56.5. There's really not much between himself and the balance of the field, who are 57.5 up. So you could say there's 4 kgs between himself and the balance of the field. And there's going to be no dead weight on him. There's with a top weight jockey like Bernard Fader, but I think he's got the right jock up at this weight, 61.5 kgs. And I personally think he could be a finder in race number 11. And at the time of recording, he was trading at around 7-1, with I think is a generous price about him, number 9, Kitchakal. So those are the 4 horses. 2 trebles will be up on the World Sports Betting menu, but my suggestion is with those 2 trebles, you can take them, but do the Yankee as well. Do all 4. I think that could be a nice play for you. Now, we mentioned that we're going to do 4 to follow, then we're going to touch on a pick 6 and a quartet in the main race, and then let's go with the pick 6 first, which begins in race number 4. Now you need to get your bets on by 13.50, 10-2. It is a carryover of 1 million rand. The estimated pool is a conservative 10 million. And this is where the Hong Kong World pools begin as well. Races 4 through to 12. So massive pools expected on the day. And as I said in our 4 to follow, we are going to begin with a banker and our pick 6, horse number 3. Captain's Ransom. Now the next 3 legs I've gone wide and hoping for some type of result. In race number 5, I've gone with all of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 12, 13 and 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 12, 13 and 14. So we've got 8 runners there and hoping for a result that goes our way rather than against us, and I think we should be safe there in race number 5. The 6th race, I've gone with 7 runners, again playing it wide. This is a juvenile stakes over 1100 meters, and I think if you're not in the camp of a horse like the Abdicator, then you're going to have to play it wide. I think you could get a result here, so I'm going numbers 1, 2, 5, 8, 10, 12 and 15. 1, 2, 5, 8, 10, 12 and 15. That's in race number 6. Race number 7 is the World Sports Betting Gold Rush. It's over 1600 meters, and have a look at this stake. It's for 7.5 million. The winner gets 5 bars. 5 million to the winners. Wow, what a big payday it's going to be for one of these young horses. The runners I've selected here, and this is going to be an absolute humdinger of a race. Number 1. I've included number 3, the runner that I like as my top choice, who's been punted already. I think now trading at around 4-1. That is going to be my outright pick if you ask me in race number 7. So I've gone 1, 3, 6, 8, 11, 13, 14 and 15. 1, 3, 6, 8, 11, 13, 14 and 15. And then we gave a horse to follow that I liked in race number 8 called Gimme a Prince. And you may be wondering if I'm going to banker this in the pick 6. Well, I've just included one more runner as the cover, I think, and that's the obvious horse, because she is just going from strength to strength, and she looks like she's even getting better as a 5-year-old. Her name is Princess Kala. She's now trained by Sean Terry. In fact, she's 2 from 2 for Sean. And when you have a look at her form from a 4-year-old career into a 5-year-old career, she's now going for 5 in a row. And the way she's been winning down in Cape Town, having won over a 1,000 and 1,200 meter trip, actually being tipped on the show as well. So number 16, Princess Keller, is going to be the only backup for our selection there. Number 2, Gimme a Prince. So in that leg, which is race number 8, we're just going 2 and 16. And then the last leg of that pick 6, well, let me touch on it because this is going to be my top 4, and this is going to be the top 4 horses that we're going to include as first position in the quartet and in the pick 6. My top selection in this year's World Sports Betting Cape MET. Don't fall off your chair. This is going to be a big one. It's number 16, Linebacker. That's the run I'm going for. I was initially on between Jet Dark and Cousin Casey, and I'll tell you what swayed me in the camp of this horse. Well, let me touch firstly on his form. As a 3-year-old, we know what a star he was. He was the winner of the Cape Derby. He went on to win the KZN Guineas. He went on to win the Daily News, and he was favourite in the July, where he ran second to Commenting Dung. So he did nothing wrong as a 3-year-old. He failed to win a race as a 4-year-old, that we know. But there were signs there of him, bouncing back to his very best. The 1 run or 2 runs that catch my eye was his second to Al Mutana, that was in the Gold Challenge. Great run. Al Mutana has since come out to win the King's Plate. His run when fought behind Jet Dark in the Champions Cup as a 4-year-old was a good run. He ran 4th there. Now he's been on and off racing with issues. But I looked at him as a 5-year-old, and he was coming off a long break that they gave him in July, and rightfully he would have needed those runs as well to bring him back to peak fitness. And those 2 runs haven't been the worst, and that was in the Green Point Stake and the King's Plate. I kept a really close eye on him in the King's Plate as well, and I liked the way he was moving and the way he was, just finishing off that race. So people have gone cold on him as a 5-year-old. I don't know if they've forgotten what a good 3-year-old he was, and he wasn't the worst 4-year-old as well. But as a 5-year-old, he's having his peak run, he's having his 3rd run back. I see that Vaughan has decided to put the blinkers back on. He was trying 3 starts in KZN with the blinkers. 2 of them he ran well, the runs that I mentioned, which was his first start with the blinkers in the Gold Challenge and the Champions Cup. Those were good runs. His only default was in the July, where I was initially on him, and then I switched last minute to Sparkling Water, and it proved to be the right decision. But coming back to Linebacker, now the form may be putting some people off, the 2 runs back that he's had as a 5-year-old, but I'm going to take a stance and say it was used to bring him back to peak fitness. Now, what's made me in the camp of this horse, I was thinking about, whether I should go for him or not. He's a big price. He's currently at around 35 to 1 in World Sports Betting. I stumbled upon a comment from his trainer, and to quote his trainer, about Linebacker, that is. He's better than he was last year. And I said last year as a 4-year-old he failed to win a race, but he had a few good runs. So he's better than he was last year. The last 2 weeks he has come on tremendously. Wow. That's what really caught my eye, because I mentioned this as his peak run. So the last 2 runs he has come on tremendously. Draw 16 is a concern. So he just says draw 16 is not in his favor. So that's the only thing negative from Vaughan's comments, which I really liked, that the draw is the concern. Well, the bad draw is the bad draw, but we've seen good horses win from any position, and this is a good horse. So he's going to be my value in the race at big odds, number 16, Linebacker. And in the pick 6, I'm just going to go with 4 runners. In fact, in order of preference, I've tipped them 16, Linebacker, to beat number 14, Cousin Casey. He's always been one of my favorites as a juvenile. I followed him throughout, liked him. He brought that 2-year-old form into his 3-year-old career, showing his well-being when he won the Selangor. He took on the mighty Charles Dickens in the Guineas, where he ran second. It was a good run considering the position that he had to come from, which was towards the back of the field. His trainer has gone on record saying that he has him in such a good space and he thinks he's the horse to beat. So 14, Cousin Casey, obvious chance, carrying 54 kgs. And after Charles Dickens' run in the King's Plate, where he nearly got the job done, beating Jet Dark and Commented Done, only finding El Mutana better on the day, on that run, he must be a serious horse against the likes of Jet Dark and Comet. Then number 4, Jet Dark. Well, we tipped him to run third, I think, in the July. It was Sparkling Water, Lineback, and Jet Dark. That was my top 3. I wasn't concerned about the distance. What a run from him. A supreme run, considering the weight that he carried, running second behind Sparkling Water. And he's in a good space. This 2,000-meter trip will suit him perfectly. He's been running on and running on. What a run from him in the King's Plate. He was at the back, he was running on smartly. That run would have brought him on a ton, number 4, Jet Dark. And then Comet done well. He's a July winner, he's a Met winner, and I think Michelle Riggs has just given this horse the prep of all preps. After his July layoff, he's had 3 runs, over 1,200, wow, flying on, over 1,600 meters his next 2 starts in the Green Point and the King's Plate. Those were good runs. He's had a super prep, this horse, and I think he'll be prime and ready to put in his best foot, number 6, Commented Done. So that's my top 4, 16, 14, 4, and 6. And that's what we're doing in the Pick 6 there. In numerical order, we're going 4, 6, 14, and 16. So that is going to be the Pick 6, the 6 legs of the Pick 6. Now for that Quartet, as I mentioned, we did catch the Quartet on July Day. It paid in excess of 20,000 Rand. Can we find this Quartet? Well, it is a carryover of 1 million Rand. They're estimating that pool to reach 5 million. The Quartet goes like this. We're going with our top 4 selections for first. 4, 6, 14, and 16. For second, we're adding in number 2, Make It Snappy, and number 4, 6, 14, and 16. So we're going 2, 4, 5, 6, 14, and 16, adding in 2 Make It Snappy and 5 Sparkling Water there. So those are the 2 runners that we're going to include for second. And then for third and fourth, I'm just going to give you the numbers, guys, which will be up on screen, and you can jot them down. For third and fourth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 16, and 17. For third and fourth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 16, and 17. And that perm in that Quartet, 144 Rand, will give you 10%. That Pick 6, by the way, 360 Rand, will give you 10%. So we've given you 4 to follow. We've given you a Pick 6 guide. I've given you my top 4 selections, with the value being linebacker in this year's World Sports Betting Cape Met. Giving you the Quartet as well. You can use it as a guide, or you can take it for 144 Rand for 10%. And that is a wrap of Trackside with regards to selections, and we wish our sponsor all the best over the weekend. There's lots happening on World Sports Betting. If you make a deposit up to 100,000 Rand max, you get 20% back in free bets. That is a massive initiative. If you back your horse to win in the World Sports Betting Cape Met and it runs second, we will refund your stake. That is what the other promotion is, and that is, wow, it's absolutely a no-brainer where you want to have a punt, because if your horse runs second, you're getting your money back. Who'll do that for you these days? So those are 2 great initiatives, and there's plenty of action on the World Sports Betting menu with regards to exotics on the day. And when I say exotics, exotic bets on the day that they've put up with matchups and etc. But you can visit the website, and all of that will be up on the World Sports Betting menu. So we wish World Sports Betting all the best this Saturday on World Sports Betting Cape Met Day. And I wish you, the punter, all the best. Wow, you're playing into some massive pools, carryovers, and the Lotski. And hopefully you make a huge profit on the day, and the horses that you follow, everything falls into place. On behalf of our sponsor, the sponsor of this year's Cape Met World Sports Betting, thanks to all the punters, but more importantly and more especially, thanks to you, the valued customer. Have a blast, find all the winners, make a huge profit, and until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gash.